right, looks like we're live. And we'll just continue with our testing for this 901 gold plus category. We're now on to the Foot Squires. We've tested everything against Clan Rats and the Blades of the Blood Queen, and starting to get some results, getting things to pull out fairly reasonably. The Foot Squire should be an interesting unit to test everything against because they are armor piercing anti-infantry. So that's, whoops, let me see up to here. And the Foot Squires are not the greatest infantry. They don't have really good melee defense. They have okay armor. It's not great at 70, but I think it should just be an interesting unit to test against, to add into the whole pantheon of our testing, so that we will get a reasonable evaluation of these top tier units, which I think is a little bit harder in general to get. So pass that, boom, 5950. We'll go on over and start that test there. And today is, what is today? The 17th. Copy. And we'll get the 17th going. All right. So let's get that fight going. And the best scores are doing really good so far in the testing. Pulling very decent, very reasonable value actually overall. So pretty impressive. I did have them up there in the overall listing. I thought they were going to do good, and they're doing pretty good so far. So we'll see how they do against the Foot Squires here. 5837. 5837. And the Foot Squires finished with 1053. Bestigors 3798. And Bestigors are pulling some value out of that. So, yep, pulled 42 gold, which is reasonable. The Bestigors, one of the things they do have is they have that immense charge bonus of 35. And that comes as part of this Primal Fury because they get +8 charge bonus, +5 melee attack, and +12% speed. So it works out pretty good. Like, Bestigors do pretty decently off the charge. I think they might have the highest charge bonus of the bunch. I'm really not sure. It's decent anyways, for sure. When you look at all the charge bonuses you do come across in the testing. And it's good enough that, with their speed, 41? It might even be possible to cycle charge with them. Not exactly like cavalry, but there's a lot of units, like the Dao units are speed of 26, 28. They might be able to do something like that. Okay, 5844. 5844. Foot Squires finished with 1133. And the Bestigor 3818. Okay. Good battle, rematch. Yeah, I like the Foot Squires for this set of testing. Like, the Foot Squires are an underpowered armor-piercing anti-infantry unit, for sure. And, but I would think purposefully so. Like, Bretonnia has such good cavalry, and they have good magic, and they have good everything else. And they have pretty decent, very low-tier infantry, so I can see they were recently nerfed from 650 gold to 675, even though they're already in a one-on-one. The Foot Squires are weak, on the weak side, we'll say. So I guess the metrics, if they are even close to as good as other like infantry in terms of armor-piercing anti-infantry, that really helps over Bretonnia to be overpowered, or to really excel in maybe matchups they shouldn't, or in ways they shouldn't excel. So maybe that's the way they got. I still think they were fine at 650, and I still think the Battle Pilgrims have some, might need a little bit of a buff, but that's just based on my testing. I mean, I don't want all the units to be the same, just have different skins, really, but, okay, so 5803. I do want them to perform reasonably intuitively, because I think that's important for new players. So 674 for the Foot Squire, 34, and the Bestigor 2600. Holy, Footsquire pulled positive value against the Bestigor? Wow. Didn't see that coming. I wouldn't have guessed it. So let's just confirm. 58.3, 674, 2600. 674, 2600. 58.3, they sure did. Well, maybe I'm misspeaking about the Footsquires. Maybe they're better than I thought. We'll see how this ends up. Like, if they pull positive value against the Bestigors, then, yeah, they're probably right where they need to be at 675. Or maybe even overpowered, which doesn't seem to be the case, but we'll see. I think that was probably an outlier. Because, yeah, here they're gonna route, yeah. Because they routed really late. Like, normally they're routing sort of in here. They fought for an extra minute. So really, the longer the fight goes, the better the Footsquires do. So this is kind of one of those synergies that if you were going to bring Footsquires against the Beastmen, and the Beastmen you thought would bring Bestigors, if you brought the Grail Reliquae to give them that extra leadership to let them fight longer, maybe you turn a unit of Footsquires from being beat up by the Bestigor to pulling positive value, right? So 58.46, we go 58.46. Footsquires finished with 1383. Because the shorter the fight goes, the better it is for the Bestigors with their big charge bonus. 43.53. Yeah, pulled 84 gold that time, and that was the shortest fight so far. So we got one more. Quit battle, or rematch, and we'll see exactly how the value sort of draws out for this particular matchup. Yeah, I'm liking the Footsquires. I'm glad I picked them. I thought about it for a while. There's other units that might have been reasonable to test in this, but I just like the Footsquires. I think they're a good unit to do the testing because they don't have like 100 armor. They have 70 armor. They have decent armor piercing. They don't have very good melee defense, you know, so they're an interesting unit to test. Are they going to make it? Oh, they see their goal. Whoa, I thought they were going to keep fighting. You saw their morale went up there for a second. So 58.34. 834. Whoops. 34. Footsquires finished with 802. Well, that looks like it's probably pretty crushing. Well, 35.06. The Bestigor minus 29. So the Bestigor pulled 21 gold off the Footsquires. So definitely a positive advantage for the Bestigors, even though they don't have anti-infantry. So the Footsquires anti-infantry armor piercing against the Bestigors. You know, you would think the Bestigors, I think, what do they have for armor? It's pretty good. 95 armor. Yeah. Like, you think the Footsquires should be able to pull value in that according to just the way that the Footsquires are a damage dealer. The Bestigors are kind of got better overall stats, but they sure didn't. Okay, so what's the next unit we're going to test against here? It is going to be the Chosen. So here's a perfect example. The Footsquires should pull positive value against the Chosen very easily because the Chosen are not armor piercing and they are not anti-infantry, and they're just really have tons of armor. So the Footsquires have anti-infantry, armor piercing. This is where they should pull a ton of value. Okay, let's go grab the Chosen. But I know from testing the Footsquires are not that great, and I don't think they will. So I don't think the Footsquires will pull value against the Chosen because I think they're a little bit underpowered at 675, but let's see. This is why you do the testing. You make your guess, and then you test it and take down the data. Sometimes you're right, sometimes you're wrong. Like the last set of testing was so wrong about the Plague Monk Sensor Bearers. All right. Okay, yeah, harvest their souls. Okay, 49. That starts at. Okay, copy. And 117.19. Okay. And we'll get that fight going. I do have to redo a little bit of testing against the Phoenix Guard, as I didn't notice they have charge defense against all, so I should have tested them in a stationary position. Okay. Because a lot of those halberd units have charged defense just against large, not against all. There we go. So 5812. And the Foot Squires finished with 1187. Chosen finished with 5435. Yeah, the Chosen pulled 160 gold worth of value against the Foot Squires. And that is just, you know, this is the precise unit that the Foot Squires should pull value against, and they're not. So Chosen have fantastic melee defense, but they have 120 armor, you know, but the Chosen are not armor piercing, right? They have just regular weapon strength. They have really good stats. So Chosen are a pretty amazing unit all around, but you would think the Foot Squires would do a little bit better against the Chosen in general, but they're not. So we'll rematch and get the total numbers, and the Foot Squires will see how they do against. It'll be interesting. Sort of Chosen and Ironbreakers are battling it out for the best defensive infantry right now. Chosen. And the Ironbreakers are a little bit ahead. So we'll see if that remains the case. It's just those blasting charges make such a big difference on that incoming charge, and I think it'll make a difference on the Foot Squires because they only have 70 armor. It'll make a huge difference on the Berserkers, and it won't be that great against the Longbeards when they go up against them. Foot Squires, okay, 58-6. See, that test looked better for the Foot Squires, but maybe it isn't. 1256. Just to my eyes as I watched it. 5496. Oh, it was worse. Holy crap. 163 gold. Ouch. Took a little longer. Maybe that's what I'm seeing. Okay, not much though, only 6 seconds. Rematch. Keep things moving here. All right. Chosen. The world will scream. What do the Chosen have? That's amazing. Chosen, just sword and board infantry or axe and board infantry, have a charge bonus of 26. Wow, that's crazy. Hammers only have a charge bonus of 18, and they're two-handed infantry. All right. Yep. Demolished them that time. 58-16. And 11-25 for the Foot Squires. And for the Chosen, 53-54. 154 gold. Wow, the Chosen are just crushing the Foot Squires in terms of value. And battle. Yeah, and the Foot Squires should absolutely pull value against the Chosen here, I think.
Nurgle's pestilent glory, trying to despoil.
But maybe not. You know, you think Bretonnian infantry. Again, this comes back to the sort of the balance, not between just sort of the infantry types, armor-piercing anti-infantry, also between the factions. Like, Bretonnian infantry doesn't need to be and shouldn't be, according to lore and reason, they shouldn't have great infantry. They have great cavalry. They have great knights. They have great magic and mobility. And they have some solid lord choices. So, 58-20. Chosen being incredibly badass is also very lore friendly, right? Okay, Foot Squires, 1027. And Chosen, 54-42. Holy, pulled 180 gold off of that one, the Chosen did. Really crushing there. Yep, it'll be a, like I said, interesting fight against the Dawi for the best overall defensive infantry between the Chosen and the Ironbreakers. I think the Ironbreakers should win that one by reason, I mean, I think they will, but not only will they should, because I think the Dowie do and should have the best defensive infantry in the game. All right. Like, the longer this goes, the better it is for the foot squires, because they don't have as big a charge bonus as the Chosen, but they're just getting crushed. So 58-11. 11, and foot squires finished with 1093. And the Chosen finished with 5378. Whew. Overall, 163 gold to the Chosen. Wow. They crushed them. All right, so we'll go with Chosen with halberds, and I'm just going to pick up 49 seconds because I'm assuming it's going to be close, but we'll watch it. Oops. And I need to get the date. Copy. V. Okay, so we need to go get the Chosen with halberds and see how they do. Well, foot squires picked off 9 Chosen. I mean, that's not nothing, but losing 163 gold is a lot. All right, Chosen with halberds, 1400. And they have charge defense against large, right? Let's just make sure. Charge defense against large, okay. I think it's only the Phoenix Guard that have charge defense against all, along with the Ironbreakers, but I could be mistaken. I'll double check. I'll try and remember to double check so I make sure I do the right back testing. I have to retest the Phoenix Guard. 48. So we'll get that over there. 48 seconds is the start. All right, and let's see how that goes. Wow, foot squire is just losing right away by looks like by a lot. They're getting in some damage. It's not nothing. All right. Okay, 58-15. 8-15. 93 seconds. About the same as the regular Chosen. Foot squires finished with 11-18. 509. Only pulled 46 gold, but again, the Chosen with halberds pulling positive gold, an anti-large unit pulling positive gold against an anti-infantry unit with armor piercing is not right. That is out of whack. Dudan was here. Yes, I suppose Dudan was here. Oh my god. All right. We'll keep the testing going. Yeah. Dudan was doing what Dudan does. Oh man. Yeah, I saw, it looks like Zardar Total Warrior is playing. He always changes his name to something political. So today he's I assume that was him at Toxic Masculinity. Like, I imagine he's like just talking about the Gillette commercial that came out, which is like, oh my god. Holy guacamole. I mean, I grew up in a different era than most. So, I mean, I guess for all you guys sort of in your late 20s, early 30s, you kind of get it, but I'm almost 50 and I really don't get it at all. All right. 58-23. 58-23. Okay. Let me see. 11-18 again. I wonder if we're going to get a repeat. It is rare, but it does happen where you get it. No, we're not going to get a complete repeat of stats because we have a different time. It is rare, but it does happen where you get a complete repeat of all stats. It does happen. I mean, all the testing, I've done thousands of tests. It's happened maybe 3 times. Okay, 55-80. 55-80. hold 147 gold. Like, this is crazy. There's no way an anti-large halberd unit should pull 147 gold off an armor-piercing anti-infantry unit. I get it. I mean, foot squires are supposed to be kind of poor, but that's just, it's insane to me. Okay, we will keep testing. Keep going. All right. We'll go here. Fight going. Yeah, and this weekend, hopefully I'll find some time to get together with Aroka Boss. He's getting back into Total War. He's been out for a while. He's been playing Battle Brothers and other things, but he's like really good, like top 20 player, like world class. So it'd be fun to get together and play some games with him, so I can learn a thing or two. 58-24. I love watching him play the Dowie. He plays very like a rolling, sort of like just a slow move forward, slow roll forward with the Dowie. Loves Trollhammer torpedoes. It's just fun to watch. Okay, so the Foot Squires finished with 1154. 54. Chosen 5580. 143 gold. Frick. That's crazy. But, you know, the Chosen with halberds didn't finish tops against the Blades of the Blood Queen as far as halberd infantry goes. So I guess this is just saying they're just going to trade down extremely well. Which makes sense. I mean, they do have 120 armor. That's that's not nothing. Even an armor-piercing unit like the Foot Squires, what do they have? 35? They have 9 regular weapon damage that is mitigated by that armor. And even more so because of the bonus versus infantry. Hey, Gilly Guide. Howdy, howdy. How's it going? Just getting some testing going here. Working through the Foot Squires. So 58 or 58-20. How's life treating you? 58-20. Foot Squires 1159. And for the Chosen with halberds 5177. 5177. A little bit better, 71 gold. Not that great though still. We'll see how this ends up. Those Chosen with halberd are a pretty solid unit all around though, is what it's looking like. Because yeah, no, they didn't. I was gonna say they didn't pull positive value against the Blades. There's no way. Okay, get that fight going. Gilly, I'm good. Doing some camera practice today and waiting for batteries to charge. Nice. Just like practicing filming stuff or editing. All right, and stop. 58-33. Okay. Go with 16-17 for the Foot Squires. Not too bad. It's the highest they finished with. And 5,500 with the Chosen. 79 gold again. 79 gold again. Well, if you're waiting for battery to charge, you must be practicing filming stuff. Okay. Start. I'll just make sure I save that. We'll get the Chosen with great weapons. And great weapons should absolutely crush these guys. Gilly, you're filming specifically using 2 cameras and off-camera audio. Cool. Just a challenge. Yeah, it's interesting. You know, Gilly, I mean, I've seen some, like when you see people actually do interviews, it looks very smooth. Yeah, trying to transition into film video production. Yeah, because you see people do interviews and it looks smooth, but you know there's a mic there and that's got to be synced up with both the cameras, because the cameras are not getting all of the sound, and then it's all got to be edited in. Like when I see even a halfway decent interview, I, you know, just like you, I know, having edited my own videos, how much work goes into just editing and setting that up. Like it's a ton of work. Okay, so did I have another fight to go here yet? No, I got to go get chosen with great weapons. Okay, end the battle. Yeah, syncing in post. Yeah, agreed, Gilly. Syncing in post is huge. It's actually it is pretty difficult. And, you know, getting everything to set off correctly. Like, even you watch, like, I'll watch PewDiePie, and you see how he doesn't edit his videos anymore. Like, he gets them edited them, but there's always those quick cuts between, clearly, when I talk and when you talk and when we're doing videos, we will stop for a moment to think, or we might put in an maybe, or, you know, some sort of pause like that. But they're, on PewDiePie's videos, they're all cut. All that's cut out, so his videos flow very quickly. And you see a lot of big YouTubers, they do those cuts. And I mean, that's a ton of work just to get those cuts out, so you're not cutting any voice off. And yeah, it'll be interesting to see what you do when you get something up there. Post it up there and let me know, so I'll go take a look at it. I mean, I'm trying to up my game in terms of doing a little bit more stuff, like doing some lore videos and, you know, adding, you know, some voiceover at the beginning and the end of videos. But you know, those lore videos I do, like, frick, those take a long time, and they're only like 3 minutes of talking. It takes so much time to do that 3 minutes. So 59:48. 48, and it's not exactly like it's complicated stuff. Like, it's just a picture, a little bit of reading, and that's it. But boy, does it take a lot of time to do those videos. Like, it takes longer to do one of those videos than like an hour long video. Like, you know, easily it takes like usually a couple hours at least to do a 2 minutes. Gilly, if you have any gear or any questions, hit me up and I would be happy to help. Yeah, I mean, I don't know if I'll be getting the gear to really, like, I've just got myself a nice new mic, and like the mic I got, I mean, it's the same one Joe Rogan uses. It was pretty expensive. It's Shure. Like, I was in a band for a lot of years, and I use Shure mics all the time, and I really like this mic. It's a cardioid mic, and it uses phantom power, so it has a very nice sound to it. Much better than the old mic. The old mic I had was like a snowball or something like that. Yeah, if you have any, it gets a lot faster when you get used to it. Yeah, it's true. It gets a lot faster when you don't F things up to start with. Like, it's like, once you at least don't make mistakes when you start putting the video together, it does get faster. But yeah, no, I know I don't need any more gear for those. But like, I know if you do some filming though, it'll be interesting to see what that looks like. So, chosen with great weapons. Okay, let's get that fighting going. Because, yeah, different cuts, different angles and stuff like that, and putting together, not so easy. Not so easy. Oh, boy, that was fast. 59:04. Holy crap. 59. Yep, chosen with great weapons and Sword Masters of Hoeth are battling it out for 1 and 2 right now. So we'll see how they do against the Foot Squires. Foot Squires finished with 15:08. 08. And the Chosen finished with 62:56. Holy, pulled 215 gold out of that fight. Yikes. Yeah, Chosen with great weapons are genuinely scary. They are really, really good. Okay. In the battle. And rematch. Okay, we get in there and fight, boys. Whew. Jeez, off what do they got for charge bonus? 32. It's not as high as Bestigor's, but it's pretty high. But they got 50 weapon strength, which is pretty crushing. 58. I think one day I would like to do a special series for testing to show the power of health and versus weapon strength. So Foot Squires 1554 and Chosen 5807. Only 127 gold. Okay, because if your weapon strength, if your opponent's weapon strength matches up just right against your health, you either essentially get an extra hit or almost a kill for free when it comes to the models and how they react. So you can get some really weird results, and it's interesting to see. There used to be a weird matchup between greenskins with the Savage Orcs and the basic Dwarf Warriors, and that's how I first really understood the effect when I watched it, because the Savage Orcs would crush the Dwarf Warriors, and they shouldn't, but it just turned out they had just enough to almost get free kills against the Dwarf Warriors, because their weapon strength was enough that they were killing them in 3 hits, and the Dwarf Warriors needed 4 or 5 or something like that. All right, 5858. 5858, and the Foot Squires, let's go 1549. And the Chosen 5418. Okay, only 56 gold. Now that is quite a span from 250 gold to 56 gold. Okay. Did I miss it? Did I screw something up? 1549 versus 5418. 5418, 1549. Nope, I got it right. So every time I see a weird result like that, I go and double check it, because you just never know, right? If you actually messed it up. Okay, go and fight. Gilly, I'm scripting out some videos. Oh yeah, for Asperger's autism. Have some good topics. Nice, nice. And it sounds like an interesting topic. Yeah, love to know more. Yeah, that'll be good actually. To see, you know, to see, it'll be interesting. You'll put your video together and see what you can do with your editing, right? Because the funny thing, Gilly, I think if you put together a video that's really good, it'll look quote unquote just normal. Because, you know, it is amazing how good some YouTubers are, and people's view of watching content, you know, beyond YouTube and on Netflix or whatever, is cuts are so pervasive, and you really just don't notice them. There's such that you ever watch a movie like there's some movies where they have really long single shots. They look weird, and it's super noticeable because people's brains don't even notice cuts anymore because they're so used to them. Yeah, good video production, you shouldn't even notice. I agree, and I bet you if you do it really good, you won't even be able to tell it's there. Okay, so 5857. And but you know, and I'm sure that you'll know, Gilly, is that when you watch videos, though, having done it, you really noticed good editing. Like, I always thought the best editing award for the Academy Awards was kind of a BS award. Until I started making my own content, and I'm like, oh my god, there really is some good editing out there. Okay, so Foot Squires 1492. And I've chosen 6001. 170 gold. Quit the battle, rematch. Yeah. it's funny, you know, how much you notice video editing once you've done it yourself. It's like when you buy a car and then all of a sudden it seems like every second car on the road is the same as yours. Oh. These Chosen are getting some really, really swingy results against the Foot Squires. Okay, 59 on the button. They're killing them fast, though. Foot Squires 1494. And Chosen 6089. Finished at 150 gold, so the regular Chosen pulled more value than the Chosen with great weapons. Interesting. It took them a lot longer. It took them 96 seconds, though, as opposed to 49. Like, killing those foot squires, getting them out of there in 49 seconds is fast. Ooh, Sisters of Slaughter. So Sisters of Slaughter should be an interesting unit. Will they pull positive value against the foot squires here? I think they will, but yeah. Gilly. Yeah, makes you look differently. Love getting those perspectives in all kinds of practices. Yeah, and it'll be interesting to hear your perspective once you've put together some videos like that, as to how much more you see when you look at other people's editing. Because, I mean, I just see a little bit of it now because I've done a little bit. Like, I imagine the more in depth you get into editing, the more you will see and be able to appreciate other people's good work, right? 56. Well, the foot squires killed 6 Chosen. I mean, that's not nothing. Okay, so now we're going to go on to the Dark Elves and the Sisters of Slaughter. Are they at 1100? Yes, they are. Okay. So this should be interesting because Sisters of Slaughter poison, and they do have 20% physical resistance, even though they don't have any armor. But they have excellent melee defense at 59, so we'll see. I know Sisters of Slaughters are pretty good against the Daoi. Like, they're a pretty decent unit. Although they are vulnerable to missiles, obviously. Okay, we'll get them in there. And stop. Ooh, 59.50. Might even be able to do 51 there, really. 51. Okay, and 117.19. All right, let's see how these Sisters of Slaughter do. Well, I thought it was even for quite a while, so it looks like the foot squires are not going to do too atrociously. Oh, they're doing all right. The Man in the Desert. Can you test Giant Slayers? Yes, I will be testing Giant Slayers. I've done... I'm testing all the units, all the infantry units, non-RORs, from 901 gold up, and Giant Slayers are one of those units, and we've tested them in, so far, against 2 of our main test subject units, and I'll be doing it eventually here as well. I think the Dwarfs are right after the Dark Elves, so the Giant Slayers will be coming up. So 5803 this battle took. 5803. And the Foot Squires 1095. And the Sisters of Slaughter finished with 3297. Oh, Sisters did pull 101 gold out of that fight. Wow. Okay. Well, that's not too bad. We'll see if the rest of the fights do as well for the Sisters of Slaughter. I know that the Sisters of Slaughter are a pretty good unit if you let them do what they want to do, right? It's the same as any unit, but they can be pretty crushing if you just let them go to work. Especially against the right unit. And they have a wicked charge animation. I should actually slow that down and watch it. The Man in the Desert. Slayers are one of the coolest units in the game. I agree. I love Slayers. And I love the lore behind them. And I love, you know, I just did one of the lore videos, you know, talking about where the shaved head comes from, and yeah. And just basic Slayers are, if you can keep them out of an infantry fight, basic Slayers are so good. They always pull tons of value. So 5813. And they have great animations too. Like their jumping belly flop and jumping 2-footed kick. I mean, they're just awesome. Foot Squires finished with 1260. 1260. And the Sisters of Slaughter 3301. Pulled 84 gold, so pretty solid. It looks like it's going to be pretty good for them. Sisters of Slaughter in this fight. And Sisters of Slaughter do they have a infantry bonus? They don't. They're just really badass. Okay, so we'll get this fight going. Now, I just want to watch this. Okay. Yeah, oh, see, they roll into that fight. Interesting, okay. Okay, that's why, like, when you watch this in sort of fast speed, it looks a little strange because they get close and then all of a sudden they're engaged. So cool. They roll into the fight. Interesting. Yeah, I like the actually I say my favorite Dark Elf unit is the Sisters of Slaughter because I do like the lore behind them. You know, they're pretty frightening an overall unit. You know who they are and what they do. So 5807. 807. Foot Squires 1012. And Sisters 2886. Minus 29 gold. Okay, so the Foot Squires did a little bit better in that fight. Still not pulling positive value, but better nonetheless. All right.
Very well.
Yep, go get them. All right. Yeah, look at, you can see right as they get there, they all start rolling into combat. It's kind of cool. Oh, 39 extra stats on that. 12, like so many. Like Sisters Slaughter stat line is so good, and they have 75 models, which is also very good. Okay, 15, 8, 12. 12. I should go and look and see how they did against the Clan Rats. For some reason, I don't think they did great against the Clan Rats. Foot Squires, 1137. And the Sisters, 3768. 68. 188 gold. Holy crap, is that right? 3768 and 1137. 3768, 1137. I just want to see how the Sisters did against the Clan Rats. Sisters, not great. Yeah, the Clan Rats did pretty good against the Sisters of Slaughter. I remember that being, but the Sisters are doing fantastic against the Foot Squires, which is the opposite as you expect, because Foot Squires are armored anti-infantry, right? So, all right, well, we'll keep that going. It's weird to see how some of these matchups play out. So hopefully the aggregate gets pretty nice. Gets a pretty reasonable picture of how these units stratify and who's the best, and in terms of value, you know, not just the most powerful, but really we're looking at who's the best in terms of total value. And obviously there's a bazillion other ways to look at data and look at units, and you gotta really look at them in context of the matchup and your build and their build and everything else like that. But I do like this basic testing because it gives you some insight to the core of the unit, even though it doesn't tell you everything about the unit, right? Okay, 5814. And Foot Squires finished with 1138. And the Sisters, 3873. 122 gold, not too bad. Wow. They pulled more gold than they'd chosen with halberds. Well, that's normal. Pulled a lot more gold than the Bestigors. So I got a feeling Sisters of Slaughter really would have to be thoroughly tested just in and of themselves against a lot of units to see where their good matchups are. All right, so Harganath Executioners. Harganath Executioners have been doing extremely well in this testing so far, and we'll see if they continue to do so. All right, Harganath 11. How much are Harganath? 1200? Yeah, Harganath Executioners 1200. Yeah, and that's the thing is when you test Dark Elf units, that's also you got to understand the Dark Elf units are not getting their murderous prowess. So, you know, you got to understand how the testing is when you really try to evaluate everything. But this is just one evaluation. 5947. Wow, that was really slow. 28 and 31. Okay, 47 it is. And 117.19. Okay, and let's fight. Well, it's getting some of their health taken off them. They're definitely kicking the snot out of the foot squires, though. Okay. Well, we'll see how the foot squires did. 58, 54. They didn't stay in there very long. 13, 19. It's how much health did they take, right? Against the Harganeth Executioners. 39, 98. Oh, Harganeth Executioners did nicely. 131 gold. They pulled off the foot squires. So very solid. Very solid performance by the Executioners there. Well, that's only one test, but we'll see how it flushes out. But when we get the other 4 in, we'll see if there's a lot of variance in that in those actual test results.
My blade hungers.
Yeah, I bet your blade hungers. Yeah, the Harganeth Executioners only have a charge bonus of 24, and I say only, which is more than the foot squires and, 6 more than the hammers, which have only a charge bonus of 18. 58, 46. 46. Whoops, 46. Foot squires finished with 1339. 2 more than 1337. And 3670. 3670. Pulled 63, so a lot less that time. Okay. Quick battle, rematch. All right.
Executioners! Blood will flow!
Yes, blood will flow. Yeah, this is where if you're playing Bretonnia, you expect like a big giant rear charge right now. Right about now. Alright. 5850. Looks like the results are very consistent so far. 1359. And 3765. Only 80 gold. So time's about the same. 53, 61, 57. And the health of the foot squires where they rout is the same, but they're taking quite a big difference in the amount of health they're taking off the Executioners. Quick battle, rematch. Alrighty.
Executioners! Attack!
There we go. All right, 58, 51. 58, 51. There we go, and 1259. It's 37.92. Okay, minus 97 gold. Okay, that's all right. And one more fight, and we'll see how the Executioners finish. And then it's on to the Blackguard and Nagaron.
Executioners! With pleasure!
Alrighty. Yeah, and I double checked. The Blackguard and Nagaron don't have charge defense against all. I think it's just the Phoenix Guard that I got to retest. Okay, 5850 and 1447. 3702. 3702. So averaged 85 gold. Not as good as the Sisters of Slaughter. Sisters of Slaughter pulled 122 gold. So interesting. Not even close to the Chosen with great weapons. So the Harganeth Executioners are a decent unit, but you got to remember, again, put it in context, they will get their Murderous Mastery. Or the Murderous Prowess, or I think it's Mastery they have, right? Yeah, it is Mastery. So that's pretty big. Plus 25% charge bonus, Plus 15 leadership. Really, the big one is plus 25% melee attack and plus 18% vigor. So that's a pretty big deal. All right, let's go get the Blackguard and Aggron and get that fight going. Yeah, Foot Squires killed 26 of them. And that's the thing, like high elves, wood elves, dark elves all don't have very much health. So it is easy to kill models when you're fighting them. All right, Blackguard and Aggron. Anti-large, charge defense against large. Let's just double check down here. Charge defense against large, so it's not. Okay, so we will charge them in to get the most out of their stats. All right.
Blackguards.
Yes, Blackguards.
Terror and death.
And boom, 59.49. Okay, V and 17. All right, let that fight go. That's even. Still even. Oh, there you go. Now the Blackguard believe they're winning. So it took a while. So Foot Squires should pull positive value in this. I mean, they should by rights because they're fighting an anti-large unit. And they are an anti-infantry unit. So it looks like they're gonna. They're 675 versus 1300. They only got to get them to half health. Oh, they're hanging in there. Okay, there we go. 57.41. And the Foot Squires finished with 977. The Blackguard, 32.20. Not quite half health. Still, Foot Squire pulled 82 gold, so good for the Foot Squires. They're pulling positive gold, and they should. They should be pulling positive gold against an anti-large unit like that, because they are armor-piercing anti-infantry, and that's exactly what they're meant to do. So, it just shows how, when you compare these halberd units, it just shows how powerful Chosen with halberds really are. They are unbelievable, actually.
Attack.
In some matchups, in some fights. Not all. How many are they? Yeah, they're getting lots of kills. Not quite 2 to 1. Right, they've just got to get them to 3,000 health here. I don't know if they'll. I bet you maybe one of these fights are going to get them to 3,000 health. It'll be close. 34, 33.40. So 57.41 is where we stopped. 57.41 again. All right. Foot Squires finished with 963. Okay, it's not 977. 963. Not quite the same. Blackguard 33.40. So the Foot Squires pulled 56 gold out of that. All right, a rematch. Foot Squires. Yeah, I like the Foot Squires, and I like the concept of the Foot Squire. I think they're just it's taken them a while to balance them sort of right in the context of Bretonnia, but I really like the unit, its stats, the way it's balanced, and everything else like that. I still think they should be 650 though, but I could be wrong. I don't have the stats CA does, you know. And I can see why, like, because they're making small tweaks to the Foot Squires, and they've been playing with them quite a bit. So their focus has been on Bretonnia as a faction to sort of make them an interesting faction to play and viable in multiplayer. So 5802, and I think they're succeeding. You do see Bretonnia in the tournaments quite a bit now. Okay, 1100 for the Foot Squires. And the Blackguard, 40.36. Oh, the Blackguard pulled 69 gold off of that one. Huh. Well, looks like we got a fight on our hands. We'll rematch that and see how this ends up.
We are
Right.
ready.
Yeah, you are ready.
Attack.
Indeed, attack. The Blackguard have a charge bonus of 18. Like this kind of bugs me. Blackguard have a charge bonus of 18. They're an anti-large unit, and the Dowie only have a charge bonus of 18. The Hammerers, and they're like I guess Blackguard and Agarond are elite as well. I guess I can forgive them because their armor looks decent. It's not shoddy or anything. Whoops. And oh wow, Footsquires are doing really good here. This is definitely going to change the results a lot, like the final gold results. 57-15, 57-15, and Footsquires finished with 846, 846, and the Blackguard 25-17. Whew, Footsquires pulled 210 gold out of that fight. Nice. Very good. Okay, and quit battle, rematch. Footsquires doing what they should be doing. Like with the amount of I think one of the other things I like about this testing and the way that the Total War series is set up in all is that there is enough randomness in it so that you really don't know exactly what's going to happen. They've done a great job of that, and I think Total War Warhammer is really the absolute pinnacle of what CA's done through their history. I mean, I was worried that they weren't going to get a lot of things right when this game was coming out, because I'd only played the other Total War games, but they've just done everything so well. So well. 57-40. Now, all we need is someone to, work on an Elon Musk style AI that plays Warhammer. Okay, and we got here Footsquires 940. I mean, that's coming out. It won't take long. Within 5 to 10 years, there will be a true AI for Warhammer games, or for Total War games, and it'll be impossible to beat. 2907. 2907. 141 gold. So the Footsquires pulled 84 gold off the Blackguard. Pretty good. All right, now we're getting to the Dowie. Get to the Hammerers and see how our beloved Hammerers do. Quit that battle and end it. And we will get to the Giant Slayers very shortly. So we do Hammers. We're doing everything in order of their cost. So we'll do Hammers, then Ironbreakers, then Giant Slayers. So continue. Dowie and Hammers, 1100. There we go. Get that fight going. Hammers should crush the Footsquires. But, well, they will crush the Footsquires. It'll be how much by will be the important part of that. Oh shoot, I forgot to take the start time. I'm going to assume it is 49, and then we'll go and look next test. See, yeah, Footsquires are doing really good here. They're like freaking getting a lot of kills. It's only 2-1. That's irritating. Okay. 58-18. Whoops. 58-18. And we'll say this was 49. Copy V. And 117. Copy V. And the Footsquires finished with 764. 764. And the Hammers finished with 3042. Ah, I can't believe that. The Footsquires just pulled positive 23 gold against my Hammers. Now that's irritating. Gilly, why would it take that long? Isn't a game like Go more complicated to beat everyone on because of the history of high level of competition? Why would it take that long? I don't know, Gilly. It's really going to just take someone to do it, right? Like you see more and more AI, and I love what Alpha Zero has done and Go and chess, and you see Leela Zero in chess is doing really well. And Elon Musk's AI playing Dota 2. I think it played Dota 2, doing really well. You would think it wouldn't take that long, but it's going to take someone to do it, right? That's the thing. It's just going to take someone to really make a truly, an AI with recursive learning. And the interesting thing is you could make 14 versions of AI. One will be truly a dwarf AI. One will be truly you can make a different AI for every faction, which I think would be very interesting. 58-18, rematch. Oh yeah, for sure. And I know when you say humans make physical and visual recognition errors a lot in high level competitive play, Gilly, absolutely. And especially in sort of the field that you're in, when you're looking at speed runs where you have to be so precise. I mean, you really see the absolute top of that, right? The most mistakes people can make because they're such fine. I think making a good AI that can beat humans in Warhammer won't be that hard compared to making a good AI that can beat humans in chess. Because there's so many more areas where humans make mistakes in a game like this. But, I mean, it has to be done. So 59-47. 47. And I would love for CA to take that on to make their own true AI. Or maybe they could get, Leela Zero's code and some of that and make a Leela AI for this game. So 59-47. 47. Well, that's a lot better. 59-47. Oh, shit. The fight hasn't started. Like 59-47. That's really good. That's like, what, 1 second of fighting? Gilly, or just make a Blood Dragon AI for this patch. Yeah, no kidding, eh? Oh my god. 58-41. That looks better. Looks like 58-41, and Footsquire's finished with 1469, and Hammers 45-81. Yeah, that's better. There, Hammers pulled 146 value their way, so that's more like it. Interesting though, that just shows you how much variability there is in every fight. Like amazing. Like the Footsquires actually beat the Hammers in terms of total value in the first fight, and the Hammers crushed them in the second fight. Quit battle or rematch. Yeah, I still don't. They nerfed the Blood Dragon a little bit, but I don't know why they left it with the Helm of Discord. I mean, that is a very powerful ability. Just doesn't seem like it's needed. But not like any ability is really needed, I suppose. It just doesn't seem right. But no, I mean, the Blood Dragon's all about martial prowess, or about hand-to-hand fighting and weapon fighting and stuff like that. So, I mean, does that represent it? I don't know. Yeah, I would like to see really, instead of that, like for the Blood Dragon, I think it would be more interesting than a debuff of minus 50 stat points and 30 meters to have a massive buff of the Blood Dragon himself of plus 27 melee attack and melee defense. I think that would be more appropriate and it'd be more correct. All right, 58-38. 58-38. 58-38. Okay, Footsquire's finished with 1252. And 36-82 for the Hammers. 82. Only pulled 26 gold, so wow, there's a ton of variance in this fight. Holy crap. We'll just save that just to make sure I have it. Alright. In battle. Rematch. Gilly. I think if he wasn't a caster, it would be fine. Yeah, you're probably right. If he wasn't a caster or more restricted, yeah. I think that's fair. Just recast him as Ultimate Melee Lord and make vampire counts take a separate spell. Yeah, I think that would be exactly right. I mean, it's not really lore friendly because all vampires, I think, with the exception of Harkon because he's nuts, do have magical ability. But you know, they could restrict his abilities a lot to things that were, you know, very martial, right? Very focused on combat. Yeah, give him a buff to make up for it. I think you could make him a much more interesting Lord. Right now, he's essentially the only Lord because he's so powerful. I mean, he's not. There are other Lords, but he's so much stronger than everything else. I mean, he's the only. He's the most competitive Lord. Let's say he's not the only Lord you can use. He's just the most competitive in most matchups. 5841. 41. Footsquire's finished with 1215. Hammers 4403. And so Hammers pulled 145 gold. Wow, this fight is so swingy. That's crazy. Okay, rematch. Yeah, you know, I think what I would love to see is that to commit to multiplayer community, that to start doing a patch once a month, and just, you know, get into that. The balancing is very good right now already, but, you know, I guess, what do I know about how hard it is to do a patch on a game like this? But it would allow them to pick up small little bugs on a very regular basis, because there are bugs that have been in the game for a long time, and, you know, if people knew every month at the first of the month they were going to do a patch that was going to be a multiplayer balancing and bug fixes, they could try a lot more extreme things in multiplayer balancing, because if it was a mess up, the next month they could undo it. But in terms of catching up and keeping up with little bugs in the game, I think it would be outstanding. Really, it would be. So 5841. 58. Oh, another 5841. We'll see. 1215. Nope, 1314. And for the hammers, 4666. Number of the beast, 176 gold. So full total of 93 gold on average. So better than the Hargoneth Executioners. Not as good as the Sisters of Slaughter. Not as good as the Chosen with Great Weapons. 97. Not as good as the Chosen with Halberds. That irritates me. Okay, Ironbreakers. Here we go. Time for the Ironbreakers to take on some Footsquires. And battle. Okay, continue. Let's go, boys. Let's mess them up. I think the Ironbreakers should do extremely good in this.
Ironbreakers!
Okay. We'll just start the battle. And boom. So 5949. 49 for damage start, where damage starts coming in. Copy V. And let's get that fight going. I was going to say, are they actually going to get rid of all of their blasting charges? They might. They're still throwing. I wonder if I'm just going to check here. I want to see if the Footsquires are... no, they're not being hit by missile attacks. Okay. This is the problem with the... oh yeah, they did get rid of them all. It's the problem with Ironbreakers, though. They're very good value for money. Very good value for gold. But they take so long to kill. Right? That's the Dowie in a nutshell, actually. So 5707. 5707. Footsquires finished with 1211. And the Ironbreakers finished with 5703. Hoo-wee! Look at that. Ironbreakers finished with pulled 294 gold out of that. Wow. It's not even going to be close between them and the Chosen. I mean, if this keeps up, quit battle, rematch. Like, if I were to spread out the Ironbreakers and they would get off all of their... Well, I'll do just a quick test. I'll show you. Like, I have done a lot of formation testing, and there's a whole video of formation testing, what a difference it makes. But for blasting charges, it makes a big difference. So you see, if I spread out this formation and then just start that, now they're really wide, they'll get their blasting charges off more effectively. And you can see, because the last one, it took them a really long time to get them all off. When you see here, look at how good they're doing at getting their blasting charges off the Ironbreakers. So this is one of those things where, I mean, formation matters all the time in all matchups, but you can really see it. Like, they're gonna rout them here. I think they have a few more blasting charges, but you can see the way this is working out. They're actually very close to routing them, and there they go. They routed them. So they routed them, and in this one, they only took what, like 600 damage, like very, very little. So I'm not going to take the data down because that's not how we're doing the test. But because a lot of people will look at the test that I do and they say, well, formation really matters, and I agree it does. And we've done the testing with formations and to see how much they do matter. But it's interesting to see what a big difference it does make. So like this test, the reason I do the testing this way, and I've said it many times, is I want to make the testing very repeatable. That's the most important thing to me. And I think that's something that anybody could repeat my testing and look at it and be able to look at it in the future to say, okay, if they see, Footsquire stats changed or Ironbreaker's blasting charges changed, they could actually do this test and see how much health the Footsquires had left after the first volley of blasting charges came in, and really get a real actual in-game feel for how much the blasting charges have improved in their total damage output, because they have repeatable testing to compare to. So that's what's the most important to me. I know there's lots of different ways of doing testing, and most of the testing that I see done is very, two guys will get in and they'll test units against each other, and then that's it. And they will make a judgment call as to how good the unit did, rather than a really hard number like we get in our spreadsheet. When you do this testing, we get a hard number of how much difference there is in terms of total gold. And even though the testing is very myopic, it's very, very small in terms of its scope, it's actually quite accurate in terms of just the test itself. So 56, 57. Footsquire's finished with 1264. Okay, Ironbreaker's finished with 4991. Pulled 169 gold out of that. Okay, quit battle or rematch. And then we're gonna have the Giant Slayers after this. And this is the kind of the worst case scenario for Slayers, is against a unit like the Footsquires, I think. Oh, we'll just start the battle and let them do their thing. I do like watching blasting charges go off. It is always very satisfying. Like, they're just about, like, right here. They're so close. They're at 6, and then you can see then their leadership goes up. So once the blasting charges wear off in terms of their debuff, and that initial shock damage wears off, then they keep fighting for quite some time after that. But at the very initial one, they're so close to breaking. There we go. 57-19. And the shorter the fight, the better it should be for the Ironbreakers, I would think, because those blasting charges are such a big portion of the damage. So Footsquires 1275, and the Ironbreakers 5770. Yep, 298 gold. They pulled off from that one. Quick battle or rematch. It'll be interesting to see the gold per minute the Ironbreakers are going to pull, because usually the Ironbreakers don't pull great gold per minute values, but in this battle they just might. And if they get one of these fights to go short, that'll really help the total time in the battle, because it's not so, like, you know, funny, the Footsquires aren't even close to routing right now. And some of their other fights, oh, right here, there they are. Oh, just about routed. Like, they route right there, and that is a massive gold differential, like even more. And it really helped the Ironbreakers in terms of how they perform in their time stats. Because this is what's dragging down the Ironbreakers in these fights is not the value they pull, but how long it takes them to get that value. 57.11. And Footsquires 1242. I mean, it's the story of all Dowie. 5074. 186 gold and one more fight, and then we're on to the Giant Slayers rematch. All right, start that battle. And we'll try and remember to do a cinematic for the very first Slayer fight against the Footsquires there for you. The Man in the Desert. See, they're almost breaking there. They just don't quite make it. And then they keep fighting. And that really makes a big difference. Like, had the Ironbreakers been able to break them right there every time, what a big difference in the stats it would make. But they couldn't, so c'est la vie. Okay, 57-16 it is. 57-16. 1262. And we've got for the Ironbreakers 56-36. 56-36. Average 244 gold per fight. Wow. Really good. Now here's the Giant Slayers are going to get crushed. In terms of value, this is not the fight that Giant Slayers want. So in that battle, they will get to, there will be many Giant Slayers that get to fulfill their oaths right now. Okay, there we go. And
Slayers.
Let's go. What do I think right there? K, we got N. Good job, boys. Yeah, this is the only thing that bugs me about Giant Slayers is they screwed up the size. They didn't screw it up. They did it on purpose. You know, it's like a classic CA joke. Haha, get it? Giant Slayers. Wow, wow, wow. You can see, like, the Slayers are literally as tall as humans. And, oh, see that guy's head? Wow. Okay. Okay. Now you can see, like, the Giant Slayers are getting so much health taken off.
I have a Slayer's anger and yearn to expel it.
Yeah, that's right. Okay, so 58, 54. 54. I'm going to say that was 50 seconds, but we'll double check it. And Footsquires, copy V. And Footsquires finished with 10:51. Okay, and we've got 31:74. Yeah, pulled 77 gold. That's not too bad. The Slayers didn't do that bad. 77 gold. They might do better. They might do better than the Blackguard of Naggarond. It's possible. So that's all right, I guess. We'll keep that fight going and see exactly how it goes. I'm surprised the Slayers did that good. against the Foot Squires. Like, the Slayers are not going to do that good against the Berserkers. I'm going to tell you that right now. They're going to get freaking wiped out by the Berserkers. But, oh shoot, I forgot to take the time. I'll try and remember it next time. Fight goes really fast. I mean, there's a ton of damage being tossed around. And, whoops, nope. Boom. Okay, 58-47. Foot Squires finished with 1066, and the Giant Slayers with 2846. Yeah, Foot Squires pulled 142 gold that time. That's more like it. It's more what I would expect. You know, because Slayers have no business being in an infantry fight. Really, they're massive anti-large. I mean, they can do a little damage, but this is not their forte. Yeah, they're getting 3-1 on the kills. Looks like for the Foot Squires to the Giant Slayers. 58-51. $9.98 for the Foot Squires, and the Giant Slayers 28-20. 28-20. 139 gold. Yep. In the battle, a rematch.
It is a reckoning.
All right.
Axes out.
Get that fight going. I do like the addition of the Giant Slayers. It's really helped the Dowie lineup, I think, in a lot of ways. You know, that if I think of the Dowie lineup, you fix gyrocopters and make them where they should be. I mean, that's probably enough, but I would love to see a whole set of Thanes. You know, like sword and board Thanes, you know, axe and board Thanes, you know, two-handed Thanes, one-handed Thanes, one-handed hammer. Like, you could have 4 different versions of the Thane for your heroes, and I think that would be just fine, and it would really help flesh out the Dowie heroes. And then obviously you need a Slayer hero and a Ranger hero, or Joseph Bugman himself, clearly. I think that's going to come. So 58-53. Okay, and Foot Squires finished with 842. Giant Slayers 28-56. 28-56 in the battle rematch.
For the Corazon Corps.
Okay. Yeah, they chew through them pretty fast. And bang. 59, right on the button. Oops. Ooh, okay, and the Foot Squires finished with 1194. And Giant Slayers finished with 3432. Well, 103 gold. I think it's the worst so far. Yeah, it is the worst so far, but you know, it is what it is. Right? That's to be expected, really, isn't it? And I do want to get to the Swordmasters. I want to compare the Swordmasters of the Hoeth to the Chosen with Great Weapons, because they're 1 and 2 right now. So we'll get through and get the Black Orcs next in that battle. Continue. We'll see how the Black Orcs do. This will be an interesting fight, actually. Green skins, Black Orcs, 11-50. Black Orcs have 29 charge bonus, which is solid. Not nearly what the Bestigors are, though. The Black Orcs are physically really big, and they have a lot of reach with their axes. Okay, and 49. 49. Copy V. All right, let's get going. Yeah, and the Black Orcs have 110 armor. Like, that's actually really solid. Mind you, they're against an armor piercing unit, but it'll be interesting. Like I said, it'll be interesting to see how they fare, how they compare to the Bestigors. 5840. And Bestigors and Hammers, for that matter, really. Footsquires finished with 1288. The Black Orcs finished with 4809. Ooh, that's not good. Oh, well, 68. That's not bad, I guess. I was just looking. They have 8,100 starting hit points. And so the Footsquires took a bite out of them, but still the Black Orcs finished with positive value against the Footsquires. So, quick battle, rematch. We'll see how swingy this fight is. And it looks like the Black Orcs are going to do better than the Bestigor here.
Where's the scrap?
If this holds.
Jumper's ass.
I think the Bestigor was only like 25 positive gold to the Footsquires, something like that. It wasn't spectacular. Yeah, Black Orcs really don't have great stats. I mean, 36 and 26 is okay. But again, you know, they have that 50 weapon strength, and that really matters when you got the Wah going, or the Bonewood Staff, or Itchy Nuisance, or Sneaky Stabbing, or whatever it is. 58-17. Ooh, this will be interesting. 58-17, that will last a long time. Footsquires, 1001. The Black Orcs, 45-47. 62 gold again. All right. Might end up being pretty stable. We'll see. Okay. Oops. Get in there, boys. I'm just going to press play. And you'll see, like, Black Orcs are freaking huge. When you see them, just how tall they are. That's not the best. You can kind of see, like, how tall they are compared to humans. Like, if those guys were 5'10", those Black Orcs be what? 6'8", 7 feet. And then you can see how far their axes reach. Like, you just watch this Black Orc. His axe reaches almost to the second guy behind when it lands. There. Well, no. You got to see them. They do a chop where they chop down. Their axe goes so darn far. Oh, they're about to crumble here. And that makes a big difference. Like, animations make a massive difference. Like, that was one of the very first things I did videos on 2 years ago was animations. And man, oh man, what a difference your animations make. And that's why Black Orcs were so good, even though their stats would suggest they shouldn't be as good as they are. It's because they always hit. I mean, they always make contact with the model on model, and that triggers the mathematics that take place. Now, they don't always hit in terms of they actually take damage, but they hit more frequently than not because their weapons reach such a far distance. 58-31. Okay, and Footsquires, 1232. Okay. 47-43 for the Black Orcs. 47-43. 64 gold again. All right. There we go. Quit battle. Rematch. Okay, there we go. Did they say black is the new green? Did they just say that black is the new green? Oh my god. Oh man. I really need to go through all these units and just click on them and see what their commands are, because I don't play any of these other factions, so I never ever do hear them, right? 5822. Black is the new green. That is pure gold cheese. Awesome. Black is the new green. All right, 5822. Did I get that down? Yeah, I did. Okay, 1115 for the foot squares. 1115. Whoops. And the black orcs, 5214. Oh, that's nice for them. 5214. 144 gold they pulled in that. Really good. Very solid showing. And one more. There we go. Yeah, Black Orcs, their accent I think is it Cockney? London? Cockney-ish? Not precisely, but I mean, if any of you guys are from England or know accents well, I think that's what it sounds like to me. Okay, 5825. I remember reading somewhere that orcs were sort of meant to be modeled after soccer hooligans in some way, like for comedic purposes. Okay, 5825. So they finished 891 for the foot squares. 891 and 5015. Ooh. Another good battle, 140 gold. So they finished taking 95 gold off to the Black Orcs, or off the foot squares. So better than the Hammers, just barely. Better than the Hammers. Better than Harganeth Executioner. So Black Orcs did pretty good. Nowhere near the Chosen, though. And now the Swordmasters of Hoeth. Quit battle. Get out of there, and we'll go get those Swordmasters and see how they do. Okay. See how they do compared to... Really, we want to see how they do compared to the Chosen with great weapons, because they're neck and neck in the testing right now. All right. 1250. I gotta remember the Phoenix Guard. Don't charge them. Okay. Keep going. Without question it is. And boom. 5948. 8. Okay. Copy V. And let's get going. Let's see what that looks like. Yep, winning right away. They're losing some health though. Like this, oh, the foot squares. Whoa, they're losing a ton. Whew. That was crushing. They lost what, 5 to 1 in models, and elves don't have a lot of health, so that's easy to take models. So 5856. Here we go. That's not as fast as the Chosen with great weapons. Let's see if that's the value though. 1490 for the foot squares. And Swordmasters finished with 4361. 172. Looks like what are the Chosen at? Chosen with great weapons 150. All right, well this is going to be close. We'll see. That's only one fight, but we'll see. They got to finish higher than 150 gold, and they will be beating out the Chosen with great weapons in terms of their straight up gold value, but they're not killing as fast, so the Chosen will finish ahead of them, I'm sure, in gold per minute is what it looks like to me, but we'll see. You got 4 more tests to run, and you never know, like the foot squares could do something, and well, yeah, it looks like the foot squares are doing a little better in this one. Well, 59 went faster. Foot Squires, 1433. And the Swordmasters, 4219. A little better, 148 gold. Okay, quick battle, rematch.
Swordmaster of Hoth.
Yeah, exactly.
Asturian willing.
All right. 58, 57. 1433. 1555. And Swordmasters, 4601. That's good. Ooh, pulled 215 gold. Very good. Rematch. Okay.
Swordmaster of Hoeth.
That going. All right. 58, 57. Oh, 58, 57 again. 1351. And Swordmasters, 4501. 216 gold. Holy crap. Last fight. Swordmasters are crushing the Chosen in this fight so far. In just in terms of value, but it'll be value over time, right? Because the Chosen with great weapons crush the Foot Squires extremely fast.
Swordmaster of Hoeth. For our ancestors.
All right. Boom. 5902, shortest one yet, I think. 59, yep, 02. Foot Squires, 1393. 3. Swordmasters, 4752. Whoo, 264 gold. So Swordmasters finished at 200 gold. Pulled 200 gold off the Foot Squires. That is not as good as the Ironbreakers. Much better than Sisters of Slaughter, way better than Chosen with Great Weapons. So the Chosen with Great Weapons was pulling at 189 gold per minute. So how fast did the Swordmasters pull it at? 246 gold per minute, so very good. Swordmasters got them out of there in 50 seconds. The Chosen got them out of there in 49. So, wow. Very, very nice fight for the Swordmasters. It's one of the things I figured is that Swordmasters would trade down extremely well, and they're definitely showing their quality when they're beating up units that are weaker than them, which is like, par for the course for an elf, right? All right. So I'm going to save that. And I think I'm going to end the stream here and go grab some supper. I might actually stream again tonight. I would like to see how much I got left. This stream took an hour and 38. I might have another hour and 30 in me tonight. Well, maybe not. It's probably a little late. What is it? 6:04 maybe? Yeah, you might be able to do it. We'll see. Okay, well, I'm going to stop and go grab some supper, and we'll see if I can get back in here and see if we can finish off the Foot Squires tonight. And I will test the Phoenix Guard correctly. And I got to retest them again, the Phoenix Guard against the other units they fought so far. The Blades of the Blood Queen and the... Actually, no. The Blades of the Blood Queen, they probably stayed still because they were the AI in that fight. But anyways, I'll end the stream here, and thanks for the comments. I love comments. Anytime you're dropping in on one of these streams, the whole point of me streaming this testing is more so to just chat and chill out and take any questions you might have, whether they're Warhammer related, life related, doesn't really matter to me. It's just this is kind of busy work. Even though I love this sort of testing, I really find it interesting and fascinating to see what happens next, sort of thing. I do look forward to any kind of comments and questions and stuff like that, just to chat away while I do the testing, so we can sort of do it together and discover as we go along. Anyways, that's the end of the stream, and I will see you guys all later. Have a good one.